Vlog on a blog. Tomorrow's news today. Get to the truth. Listen, learn, live. Visit us at yadayah.com.
Yes, indeed. Always nice to have that wonderful introduction. Well, I introduce here Will and Kevin. We've got also on the controls Rich today. Not that Rich is ever not on the controls.
Just hiding in the background.
Nevertheless, we start with a really lovely post from Danny, which he says is accurate. Oh, Danny. Believing in Jesus, but not obeying him is exactly what Satan does. Now, Danny. First of all, isn't the Christian New Testament all about that obeying is something of the Torah, which you reshape as laws as opposed to guidance? And wasn't it Paul who wrote that if you don't obey everything in the Torah, you're condemned by it? And that he replaced said obedience with the Torah with his gospel of grace that doesn't say crap, that he doesn't ever explain, who he doesn't, I mean, he even named it after pagan goddesses. But it's all about believing, not obeying. You know how many Hebrew words there are for obey there, Danny, who says you're accurate? Zero. Yep. There is not a single Hebrew word for obey. When you read obey in your Bible there, Danny, what you're reading is a corruption of the Hebrew word Shama, which means to listen, something you obviously don't do very well. Now, as for Hasatan, who's a name you actually got right. You couldn't get Yahweh's name right, but you did manage to get Hasatan's title right. It means the adversary. And he not only knows that Jesus is a hoax, so he doesn't fit that criterion that you're laying out there, Danny, because he's smarter than you are, and he knows that Jesus is an absolute hoax. There was nobody named Jesus in the first century Yehuda. There wasn't a Jesus until the 17th century, Danny. And guess what? The Lord God of the Christian Bible is Satan. So he's got it all figured out, and you don't, Danny.
Yeah, our buddy Paul, no, I don't think he ever used the word obey. He definitely was all in on governments. All governments are from God. You should render unto them.
He does worse than obey for governments. In Romans 13 is owed to the ultimately most vicious beast according to God, the very beast that bludgeoned Yisra'el not once, not twice, but 3 times. And what he says is you must submit. Mm-hmm. So to submit is far more than obey. Submit means you have no choice. You are controlled. You are a serf. You are a slave. You are nothing. The government is everything. And then the very government that Yahweh condemns, that condemned his people, Paul praises and says it is from God.
Yeah.
The New Testament is such a pile of shit. It is so damn many lies, including the whole myth of Jesus, and including the myth that God can be a man, or that men can kill God, or that resurrection is occurred, or that it is the solution for anything. It is literally a pile of shit, Danny. In fact, you don't know it, and that there's 2.5 billion people that believe this nonsense is a testament for how far humanity has fallen, Danny. Learn to think. Or, as the byline said, listen, learn, and live. Or don't, and die. What do you got next there, big boy? All right, so this is somebody here. He's got we've got a whole crew there. It's got somebody kind of ghostly in the background that's holding something up. Another person over there. He's got folks that are three people all holding up that one beam. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, he's got 8 in the picture. No, he's got 9 in the picture. He can't even count.
He's got a whole union crew.
Yeah, he's got a whole union crew. And and he's got them, of course, in black and white. And said, everything in the Bible is real. No, I'm sorry. You can get it right either there, pal. And against atheism. I don't know. Why would you be against atheism anyway? I don't. Shouldn't people be able to believe what they ever want to believe? Mm-hmm. Against what people believe, and unless what people are believing is an affront to the truth. And the affront to the truth is your Bible. God actually condemns in the sharpest terms Bible. Bible is based upon Babel, written the same way in Hebrew. And Babel means to intermix lies and truth so that you can confuse and confound. It is the very name of Babylon. It's the very thing that God is calling his people away from, not into. And the fact of the matter is that the New Testament is less real than the tooth fairy. And I know you like the tooth fairy because, you had a $5 under your pillow. Right. It means that you're a product of younger generations and inflation. Because back in my day, it was a quarter.
Quarters.
Yeah. Well, quarter, pal. Yeah, I got a quarter. You got a 5 spot. So it tells you the decreasing value of the U.S. Currency. But no, the fact of the matter is that there was a Teva. There was no ark. Teva is a vessel of insights. It was built by a man named Noah, who is a guide to spiritual rest, is what the name means. He was the father of the Shem of ultimate renown, Shem, and he is actually Dowd in the next life. And it was he, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives who literally saved the Shama man. God regretted creating humans because of, how stupid and evil humans become when they congregate in things like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, as well as Marxism. So God regretted creating humanity because many people are always bad people. And so he rebooted the system with these 8 Nesama souls. And you don't even know what a Nesama is or where the flood transpired or what God used to cause it to be a deluge in that particular reason and what he accomplished by it. So you can't say things are real until you know what they are and you know what things don't belong. And one of the things that doesn't belong, the person who made this post.
Yeah, isn't that the way? Hasatan he counterfeits over and over. Nothing pisses me off more than to see these posts about the Dead Sea and we found the chariot wagon wheels, that proves the Bible's real. We found Joseph's altar, and proves the Bible's real. No, people, it proves the Torah is real.
Yeah, the Torah and prophets of Yahweh, it proves that they're real, but they don't need any more proof. They have proof 10 million times over through prophecy and accurate depictions of history that the depictions and statements are accurate. And nothing can prove the New Testament real because it's all based on a lie. Every citation in the New Testament of the Torah and prophets is wrong. Every single one of them without exception. Whether it was Paul or someone else, they all usurped a statement out of its context, misrepresented it, misquoted it, truncated it, and used it to demonstrate the opposite of what it actually says. And if you've done that 100% of the time, you cannot have any credibility. A book which contradicts the very basis of its existence cannot, under any circumstances, be true. And that is the nature of the Christian New Testament. That is not my opinion. It's an inarguable fact. And if you can't deal with that, then you're a believer. And you believe because you don't know. Oh, this is the worst of the worst. I think we have 2 posts on this. This is a program we call the Vlog on the Vlog, which is what we do is we go to the things that either X or Facebook, this happens to be X, but whatever X is promoting, we comment on it. doing a vlog on the X blog. And this particular case, this person is saying that Israel is not a Jewish state. They're dressed, of course, like the Black Plague and ultra-Orthodox Judaism. And they say that Jews are not a nationality. Judaism is an ancient religious collective. Nothing of those things is true. So we would begin to just clear up one thing, that it is Yahweh who created Zionism. Mm-hmm. Zionism is Yahweh's word. It's not spelled with a Z, it's spelled with a Tazdi, a TS. It has a wah to make the O sound that was removed by the rabbis. Rabbis have done Israel the greatest disservice of all. They literally changed the language to remove understanding. And the Z is drawn in ancient Hebrew as a plow. We're not plowing anything here. This is a ridge line. Yeah. The TS shows a person that is in a position, in a prone position where they're reading. And so what are these things? They are signs. Sign means signs posted along the way. The ridge line that they're posted on goes from the city of Dowd and Dowd's home. He was the king, the Messiah, the chosen one, and our Savior, to Yahweh's home on the top of Mount Moriah. That is what Zion means. The source of Zion isn't some convention somewhere. It isn't a Jewish plot. In fact, there is no Jew associated with Zion because Jews didn't exist until the 17th century. Prior to that time, they were one of 12 tribes called Yehud, and in the plural, Yahudim. That means Yahweh plus Dowd. It means beloved of Yah. But you're too stupid to know any of that. Israel is a nationality. Israel is also a naming convention. When Jacob was renamed Yisra'el, he was at that time, and he continued to be, ethnically a Babylonian. All 12 of his sons were Babylonian because both of his wives and their handmaids were Babylonian. They were descendants of Abraham and Sarah, or family line, I should say, of Abraham and Sarah, the same family line. Came from the same place, journeyed to the same place, and they were all related. They were all Babylonians. And so Yisrael is a naming convention that excludes you. Yehudim is a name that excludes you. Judaism, as it is practiced by this Black Plague and these black mourning suits, was invented by Baal Shem Tov in Ukraine. And it wasn't invented until the 18th century. So the usurper here is Curly Q Boy. The usurper here is Black Hat Boy. The usurper here is Ugly Beard Man. They're the ones who are wrong. Judaism is not ancient. There was no religion ever called Judaism that goes back prior to the 17th century CE, not BCE. And it went through Jewish propensity to be, or Yehud and Yisraelite propensity to be religious, is the very thing that separated them from God. It is the thing about the children of Yisrael that God despised more than anything else. So Judaism is, well, it is a new religion, one of the newest of all religions, not quite as new as Scientology, but slightly older than Mormonism, but not by much. The fact is that the Jewish propensity, the Israeli propensity to be religious, is the thing that has destroyed them, and it has caused God to divorce them and to leave them. There is no correlation between Yahweh and these sad sacks.
Yeah, I want to talk about Tsiyown for a second. I mean, we're in the times we're in. We have the Choter, we have the Nakri here quietly for now, tapping on Tsiyown, tapping on the sign, letting Yisra'el know that we're going to tap the signs posted along the way. Go shamar, go observe, go listen, learn, live. In about 4 years now, 5 years now, it's not going to be so quiet. Not going to be gently tapping on the sign. So let's get this right now, folks. Tsiyown, Tsyown, signs posted along the way.
And one of the things that's important to recognize, that of the some 15 billion people who would identify today using the misnomer Jew, 2/3 of them are going to die. Hopefully this guy will be one of them over the next 7 years. Zechariah in the closing chapters specifically says the 2 out of every 3 Jews are going to die during the time of trouble. We entered the time of trouble 2 months ago. Of those 5 million who survive, fewer than 5,000, and likely much fewer than 5,000, are going to be part of the remnant, and only a tiny fraction of that are going to be part of the Towrah gleaning. Those who participate in the Towrah gleaning are going to be the beneficiaries of the 2 witnesses that will be atop the Temple Mount beginning on Passover in 2030. They will have missed the Shabuah harvest, which will have taken place 3 years prior to that time. And they will be the ones who respond by doing what this a-hole can't do, which is to listen and learn and then live. But by the time we get to the afternoon of Towrah, that next day, there'll be no more choices to make. Well, those who were who will be part of the Towrah harvest, which will exclude all religious scum, particularly scum like this, will have chosen to listen, to learn, to respond to Yahowah in a manner that meets his expectations, which is the reason that the Yahowah series of books has been written, so they might know what those expectations are. And you have time to read them now. But after that last gleaning of those who have chosen to comply with Yahowah's instructions, there will be no more choices. None. If you're part of that mortal remnant, which no one in a black hat who practices Judaism, none will be. There'll be no Christians, there'll be no Muslims a part of that, there'll be no Marxists. If you're part of what will be anywhere from 1,400 to 3,000 people that are part of that mortal remnant, you will have been chosen, you will not have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the problem with Israelites throughout the ages is they claim to be the chosen people, and they were chosen. They just never chose God in return. And by the time we get to the afternoon of Towrah, 24 September 2033, year 6000 Yah, there will be no choices. God's going to simply extract those who meet the criterion that he has laid out in Numbers 15, who have not been like this. They have not posted and promoted religious dribble or patriotic or political dribble or conspiracy muck. They will have, to some degree, been affected by it, but not to the extent that they can't be purged of it. God's going to search the entire world that evening, the evening prior to the Towrah sacrifice, to bring every potential Yisraelite and every potential Goyim into Jerusalem who can be salvaged. And it will be he who makes that decision. So if you want to be part of the group that goes into the garden, you need to be shedding yourself of all religious influence now, or you're just not going to make that cut. And a better choice would be learn what's needed to be considered part of the covenant and pursue that while there's still time. I tell you what, the Roman Catholic Church promotes one piece of dung after another that collectively they don't seem to have the intelligence of navel floss.
Right.
And to make this statement, you have to be completely ignorant of the book of the Muslims. You have to be completely ignorant of what Allah said, what Muhammad said, what they claim to have done, what the Quran and Hadith reveal. I mean, you have to be completely and totally ignorant. The antithesis of that is to do something like this, where you have read the 5 volumes. This is just one of 5 volumes of goddamn religion, where every statement in the Quran and Hadith that pertains to the conception of Islam is presented and documented. And when you read it, you'll find that the only way that Christians and Muslims can live together is when the Christian is dead.
Yeah.
So, pal, what you're promoting is revolting. It's ignorant. It is one more among a billion reasons why you are the last person on earth to speak for God. You don't know him. You don't know shit. You're an ignorant buffoon who would be far better off to resign, to admit that you're a fool, that the entire hoax of Roman Catholicism was stupid, that it's all a fraud, and that you're a fraud.
Yeah.
You want to know what I know? Go to yahowah.com. Yahowah.com. Click on books. Scroll down to the last of the series of books. It's called Goddamn Religion. There's 5 of them there. Click anywhere you want to on them. If you like starting at the beginning and going to the end, I would recommend starting on volume 1. That's the one I just held up. Turn to chapter 1 and click the microphone. It will talk to you. It will even turn the page. And it will highlight everything that you're reading and pause anytime you want to pause and come back to where you were the last time you were in the book. You don't even have to do squat there, pooper. Why don't you tell your faithful to do something that's actually useful to them and go to yahowah.com and come to know the truth about that religion. And then while they're there, check out the 5 books called Twistianity that prove that the Christian New Testament is nothing but rot. That it's a collection of human excrement. There was no Jesus. There was no Mr. Christ. God is not a man. Men cannot kill God. You got it all wrong. Do your faithful a favor. Send them to yahowah.com. Start with those 10 books. Oh, and then while you're at it, check on Babel too. Find out the truth about the book that you call the Bible. And then while you're there, read the other 25 books devoted to introducing you to the real God, Yahowah. Yahowah. That's my recommendation. Do as you please.
Yeah, what are there something like 50 colonized Arab countries in the world, right?
57.
50, and absolutely none of them Christians live in because they would be dead. Enslaved. There's some that have a really, really, really tiny percentage of Christians, but all Christians in Islamic countries are considered Dhimmi. They're defined by the Quran as Dhimmi, and therefore they are subject to strangulation taxes, and they have to be humiliated. They have no rights in any of those countries. Every Islamic country practices apartheid and genocide against Christians and Jews. When the Muslims, talking about living together, when the Muslims finished the war of compulsion after Muhammad's death and forced all Arabs into Islam and became a lethal force, they conquered much of the world. And in the process, during the first 100 years of this religion of living together as friends, they slaughtered 200 million people. It was 1/3 of the Earth's population, all getting along together as friends, of course.
Be like Mel and go to hell. That's my slogan. Be like Mel and go to hell. That's what it says. Be like Mel. He did all of these wonderful things. And I'm here to tell you, be like Mel, you will go to hell. There was no resurrection. There was no Jesus. There was no Christ. God is not a man. Men cannot kill God. These are irrefutable facts. There isn't a single witness to anything that is included in the Christian New Testament. Nothing. Not a single contemporaneous eyewitness account of what occurred. Not one. The whole thing is the dopiest, most pathetic series of lies, contradictions, rational fallacies ever cobbled together to become a popular belief system. So be like Mel. Go to hell.
I see here, Yada, it says converted millions to Christianity. Imagine having that on your resume. Imagine standing before God, being able to brag like that. Yeah, I converted millions to Christianity.
The religion that condemns God's people for killing the mythical God. Yeah. Well, you know, I have a really up close and personal relationship with the judge and the jury that is going to convict and condemn Mel. That's because I understand the Choter of Yeshayahu 11, and I know that he is the Shaphat. So I have no problem with him making the confession. I will deal with it accordingly. Be like Mel. Go to hell.
Yeah, I like the second to last line. I mean, the grift that Olstein knows about, that Falwell knows about, that Graham, the grift, that it grossed $600 million on a lie. He knows.
Yeah, Christians are easy to fleece. Christianity was created to control and fleece people. And you can grin all you want to, pal. You preyed upon the vulnerable.
Conversion is profitable, Kevin.
It is. No, it always has been. I didn't create religion for, laughs and giggles. There she be. I'm looking forward to extraditing the dome. And rather than destroy it, I think the best thing to do with it is just to cut it right off at the foundation there, lift it up, and drop it right on the Kaaba.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, and then take Alaska Mosque. Now, Alaska Mosque, I probably wouldn't be so careful with. I think with Alaska Mosque, I would simply have a large hole in the ground, but not anywhere near Jerusalem. That probably wouldn't be the right place. And I don't want to pollute the ocean either. So we'd have to find this giant. Well, Washington D.C. might be a good place.
Good, yeah.
Riyadh might be a good place, if Iran allows any of it to survive. But we'll have to find a place to bury the Alaska Mosque, which I will make certainly is buried, never to be seen again. But God's going to continue to use Babel for the whore and for an example of what happens, how lifelessness is conceived through religion, because you've got to have an example of what not to do. And so there's going to be a little carve out in this restoration of the world for that part of the world that brought us this hideous religion. And I have no problem taking it and dumping it right on top of the Kaaba. More rocks for the rock pile to rock gods. Why not, huh?
Well, I was trying to do some volumetric equations here, and I just noticed that just
volumetric equations.
Yeah, just to the west.
He is now the word for the day guy. You know why he was chosen for
no more equations
to be quote host. And thank God you're in the equation business too, because we couldn't get what's 3 times 40 from Rich the other day. So
right.
Yeah,
carry the zero.
Okay, so
let me take off my shoes.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
Anyway, I just noticed there's a great big hole over here to the west, and so we could get a twofer. We could cover up the hole with that damn wall that belongs to nobody, right? That is absolutely meaningless, with the debris from the crap we take off the mount. That was my thoughts, But
that wall was Herod's wall, and Herod was scumbag. He wasn't even a Jew, but he was scumbag. So that wall means nothing to anybody under any circumstances. And so, yeah, that wall and that and you be a good way to bury the Black Plague, so it wouldn't affect anybody. So you might get a 3-for-1, and doing that. But I can tell you that by the 18th of April of 2030, which is Passover in that year, a pretty articulate man named Elia is going to return, and he's going to be the entertainment for what's going to be 1,250 days of witnessing to the world from that site. But at that point, the Dome of the Hoofy Print is going to be gone, and it will be replaced by the Tent of the Restoring Witness, because Yahweh's not going to establish the final and eternal home for the covenant and home for his name until he returns with his beloved firstborn son, Dowd. And so the Tent of the Restoring Witness is going to be established there. The Aron of the Bereth, misnamed Ark of the Covenant, will be inside. We will be able to display the 2 tablets that Yahweh etched in stone. We'll have the original autograph of the Torah. Might even get a reading of it from Moshe, which would be kind of fun. We'll have the Jumbotron that's going to be the banner that will be above the 2 witnesses' heads. It's going to be an extraordinary 3.5 years. Absolutely worth the consideration. I have shared this previously, but it always bears repeating. The Dome of the Hoofy Print in Al-Aqsa Mosque, rather than being a third holiest site in Islam, is the biggest joke of all religions. It's a total embarrassment to Islam. It is not a holy site in Islam. The truth of the matter is that Muhammad, being the ultimate scumbag that he was, made a deal with his own kin in Kaabaville. It was actually Petra, not Mecca. The rock pile of rock gods was moved from Petra to Mecca. Mecca didn't even exist at the time of Muhammad. But he was a covetous madman. He was called demon possessed by those who, well, we have some video issues here, Rich. Anyway, he was making claims that they knew were not true. So as he did, it started to move again. It just froze for 15, 20 seconds. So as he did, the Koresh, his brethren, made him a deal. They said, listen, we all know you're full of shit, but we know what you want. You want sex, power, and money. You're just like every other con man. You want sex, power, and money. And what you really want is in on the Kaaba scheme. And the Kaaba was a low-class scheme to water the camels and park the rock gods of those who were caravanning through, realizing there weren't many people. There was nobody caravanning through Mecca because there's no reason you'd sail by in the Red Sea. But you would go through Petra, and there because you'd have to disembark from your ship and then go up and to the Mediterranean through Israel. So there was this con to water the camels, and because they had a nice aqueduct system there, and to care for rock gods. They had a little pile of rocks, and they would pile your rock god along with the other rocks, and you could pay for parking your rock god there in the Kaaba. And he wanted that scheme. You're smiling, laughing. That's really the scheme.
Oh, they were dusting. They were cleaning. Yes.
They were cleaning. They provided rock gods parking services. It was, it was an interesting low class scheme. That's the scheme that Qusay created as Muhammad's great grandfather, and that is the scheme that is presented in the Quran. The 5 pillars of Islam are all based on Qusay's scheme of watering camels and parking and caring for rock gods. So they offered Muhammad a share of the loot from the enterprise of parking and caring for rock gods and watering camels. And they said, here's the deal. If you stop bragging about these other gods that don't belong in our rock pile, we'll include your God in our rock pile. And that God, by the way, was not yet Allah. But we'll include that God in your rock pile so long as you include ours, and the lead goddesses of the rock pile were Manat, Al-Uzza, and Alat. And so he said, fine. He accepted the deal that they would give him sex, power, and money. You could be king for a day, you get the prettiest girl in town, and we will pay you a share of the scheme. And so he accepted the deal. And then it was his best friend, his only friend, the lone convert to Islam at that point, Abu Bakr, that said, wait a minute, pal. You said it was a monotheistic religion, and now you got at least 4 gods that I can count, and probably more in this religion. So this is not squaring with me anymore. I want my daughter back. At the time, of course, Abu Bakr's daughter was 6 when he threw her in bed with Muhammad, who was born in the year of the elephant, making him 66. And he said, I want my daughter back. I'm out of the scheme. So Muhammad had to recount because, well, he only had 1 follower. Therefore, followers were hard to come by, and there was only 1 eligible 6-year-old to sexually molest. So he recanted on the scheme of having a share of the pagan religion that would later become Islam, and when he recanted, he said that all of Allah's messengers speak on behalf of Satan.
Yeah.
So he said that Satan made him do it, and both the acceptance of the idolatrous indulgence and the admission that Satan is the one who spoke through Muhammad are both included in the Quran. So they cannot be denied by Muslims. Mm-hmm. They can go up and try to kill Salman Rushdie for writing satanic verses, but it's in their Quran. So they can't negate that. And so Muhammad was a laughing stock of Kaabaville. And because of the satanic verses, that's really a pretty lame excuse for having a bunch of goddesses added to your menagerie and your rock pile. So Muhammad solved that problem by pretending that he was addressed by a flying donk mule. Yeah, a donk mule. Not fully donkey, not fully mule, but a donk mule. And a very special donk mule, because this ass had wings. Mm-hmm. I'm not speaking of Muhammad as the ass. I'm speaking, well, he was, but okay, we had a couple of asses there. But the donk mule had wings. And so while Muhammad was still in bed with Aisha, who may have been 9 at the time, so he may have had 3 years with her. So she was probably going to be a little old for him. He imagined that he jumped aboard this donk mule and flew all the way to the temple, where he met in the temple with all the bigwigs of the Torah, and even through the prophets. Oh yeah, he met with Adam. He met with Noah. Oh yeah, he met with Moshe and Aaron, and oh yeah, all the big shots. Yeah, he was there. Dowd and Solomon. Oh, every name that he had heard, the local community of Yisraelites say to him, all the way up to even Jebus. Oh yeah, but Jebus wasn't named Jebus. He was named Esau, which is a transliteration of the name Esau. He wasn't very smart. Anyway, he mates with all these big shots. Only fortunately thing is he didn't know the name of the city.
Right. No signs. No signs maybe at the time. And he didn't know that there was no temple. That the Romans had destroyed it back in 70 CE, and we're dealing here in the 7th century. So it's 600. Okay, so it's 600 years old. Maybe the donk mule went back in time. No, you can't go back in time. So got a problem there, but I guess that's not the biggest problem in this whole get along. Oh, it gets better.
No, it gets better, because once Muhammad got to Jerusalem, where he didn't know the name of the city, because I guess there were no signs at the time, and he visited the non-existent temple, he decided he was going to go visit Allah. But the problem with him going to Jerusalem, although he didn't know the name of the city, and to the temple that he didn't know didn't exist, is that by saying that you're going to go visit Allah for the first time, your only time in your entire existence, you're going to go visit with your big God. I have to get there through Jerusalem. That's really embarrassing. You can't get to Allah through the Kaaba. You had to leave. He was sleeping with his 9-year-old sex toy around the Kaaba, and he had to fly to the unknown city of Jerusalem just so that he could go visit his God. Now, that's an embarrassment, I would think. But it gets worse. He jumps aboard the donk mule again after all these really cool meetings. And guess what?
First stop.
He first stopped hell. You want to go visit Allah, you got to go through hell to get to him. Now, you'd think there'd be some Muslim along the way that had said, yeah, maybe there's a problem with this story. And maybe then some Muslim would say, it's interesting that every depiction of Allah in the Quran shows Allah in hell. And all he's doing is torturing physical bodies of those who didn't submit to him. Maybe there's a problem with this. Oh, well, nevertheless, we get to hell on the first leap up on the donk mule. And hell is filled entirely with women hanging from their breasts by meat hooks. A lovely place. Allah runs a really tight shop. And so he asks someone, why are there women hanging by their breast hooks? Seems like a reasonable question. Now, when he met with Allah, by the way, he didn't ask any questions. But he did of Hell's Warden. I guess he felt more comfortable there. And he loved women being tortured, so that worked out really well for him. And he said the answer, of course, was that these are Muslim women who are not grateful to their husbands. In other words, if you're a Muslim woman, you would either better surrender to your husband and whatever abuse he dishes out, or you're going to be one of those hanging by meat hooks and Allah's hell. So then he goes and he passes through all of the gatekeepers of the Torah and prophets, and has salutations with all of them. He finally arrives before the big guy himself, Allah. Ooh, but it's interesting. There actually is no Allah in the Quran. I don't think most people know that. Allah is never mentioned in the Quran. There is an Allah, an Allahu, and an Allahi in the Quran, but no Allah.
Of course there is.
And because of the fact that Arabic of the Quran is nothing but bastardized Hebrew, Al means the, and it even means the now in Arabic. And Hu and Ha and he in Hebrew are him and her. And so if you check any decent interlinear of the Quran, what you'll find is 100% of the places where they now put Allah, it actually says Allahi, Allahu, Allahim. And what it means is for him or for her.
So they found a mother god.
Yeah, that's why it's Allahu, for him, for her. So anyway, he finally gets up there and in the big shot of Islam, the God who is known for only two things, torturing and tormenting people as a terrorist and torturing them in hell, until Muhammad that he wants to be moved 50 times a day. Perfect, right? So anyway, he goes back down, and the guy that was guarding the sixth heaven happened to be Moshe. You can imagine Moshe is the guardian of Allah. And Moshe says, Allah told me the same thing. I don't know why he didn't write it in the Torah, but nevertheless, he didn't get it in the Torah. But he said that, that Allah, whose name doesn't appear in the Torah either, told him the same thing. And he says, nah, nobody can do that. I went back to Allah and told him, no, that's not possible. And I negotiated it down to 5 times a day. You need to go back and do the same thing I did. That is the story. So he then wakes up from his wet dream. The donk mule is gone, but Aisha, the now 9-year-old aging sex toy, is still there. And he says, "Oh man, you won't believe, or child, you won't believe what I did last night." And she says, "Oh my God, don't please don't tell me. I don't want to hear this. Yeah, I went to this place. I don't know the name of the city. And I went to this really cool temple. I don't know what that was called either. I didn't know it didn't even exist. And I flew this donk mule to this really cool place. And this is the result of all of that. And I met with Allah after going through hell. And she says, please, don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass me.
Even a child knew.
Don't tell this story to anybody. And that is recorded in the Hadith. Mm-hmm. And he blabs it the next morning, and he gets laughed out of town. The reason that the Hirja occurred, the reason we entered the first year of the Islamic era, which begins with the Pledge of Aqaba, which is 20 pagans declaring that they would wage war against all mankind on behalf of Muhammad. That's the Pledge of Aqaba. We pledge to wage war on behalf of Allah against all mankind, the Pledge of Aqaba. And he had to go through the Hirja and leave Kaabaville is because of this just overly utterly absurd story. And so rather than being a holy place to Muslims, it's a damn embarrassment to everything in the religion. Yeah. So I'm going to take great pleasure in scraping it off of that Temple Mount. And that's what disgusts me is all of those religious morons that are banging their heads and praying to a wall that was erected by a man that hated Jews, that was serving Rome, that not one of them has the character or the courage to do what must be done, to rid the world of that boil. Remove it from the Temple Mount.
Can't wait.
Well, wasn't it, what's the, Tisha B'Av? They were up there bobbing their heads to the damn mosque the other day. We
yes,
saw that on, I mean, what?
What the hell? Jews have been antagonistic towards God for 4,000 years. They've been on the outs against God and done nothing but aggravate him religiously for 4,000 years. It is going to end, but it's going to end with a tiny little wimp. It's, out of all of the Jews in the world today, there'll be, say, 1,500 out of 15 million that are going to survive. Bye-bye, Dome. All right, so here we have in Unan, Ukraine. Look how disgusting this. People can't even color. That's their Israeli flag. Look how bad it is. They can't even color with the ship. Okay, so here are Jews. It's in Ukraine. They're part of a pilgrimage because rabbis and Jews worship dead Jews. A lot of people don't know that, but that's the fact of the matter is they go worship dead Jews. And the religion of the black mourning coats is a religion that was created by Baal Shem Tov. And he did so in the 18th century. Now, he's like the character Jesus, except he actually lived, but he didn't write a word. And so they can slather onto him any manner of myth that they want to, because he didn't write a word. Mm-hmm. And so this notion that Judaism is the first monotheistic religion or that Judaism has ancient roots, not true. Judaism's been around a couple hundred years. And in Israel, it's the Haredi that are the dominant flavor of the religion. In America, Reform is slightly larger than the ultra-Orthodox, but in Israel, the Haredi are the dominant factor. They determine all religious law in Israel, and that is a religion that was born in Ukraine, not in Jerusalem, in Ukraine. It is, look at them. Now the boys are dancing, all with their curly cues, holding hands and dancing in a circle.
It's an embarrassment.
They are the most lethal, diabolical force ever to impact Israel. Religious Jews, if we're going to use that term, and it's appropriate for these because they're estranged from God anyway, they wrote God out of their lives, not only created Judaism, they created Christianity and Islam too. They are the greatest threat and have been to Israel. Oh, Scott Ritter. He makes a statement that starts off reasonably well, except for the fact that he can't be the person that makes it. And that's because he celebrates the fact, and he's always introduced as a ex-Marine. So his entire credibility comes from being a jarhead. And if your entire credibility is being a jarhead, you can't go and say, no one should become a jarhead like me. You have to first say, I'm embarrassed that I was a jarhead, and I'm not a jarhead anymore, and I'm never going to be introduced as a former jarhead, for you then to go to say, you should also not be a jarhead.
And take down all his jarhead bric-a-brac behind him. I mean, it's just draped all over his. Yeah.
Yes. It's like so many people that serve that can't get beyond it. That's their whole life. Their entire life is defined by it. That Macgregor fellow that was a colonel, and he can't get beyond it. That's his whole life, and every breath is flavored by, and he's viewed by Douglas Dale or Douglas, whatever the guy's name is. That is the other vet that wallows in his history of service, only to condemn what the U.S. military is doing. I have no problem you saying you shouldn't enlist in the military. That's right. I have no problem with Daniel or Douglas, I guess is his name, but I have no problem with him besmirching everything the U.S. military is doing in the Middle East, because it's all destructive. I got no problem with Macgregor doing the same thing. But if you're going to do those kinds of things, stop introducing yourself as a veteran. Stop introducing yourself and surrounding yourself with those symbols.
Yeah.
But they can't do it.
Contradictory, yeah.
Now, in his case, while he is correct in saying that if you are thinking about enlisting, don't. And if you have accepted a commission or you're an enlisted, once your obligation is over, leave. That has been our advice for the last 25 years, because we realize that God despises America and the U.S. military, and that it is a force for great harm in the world. So if he just separated himself from that, he'd be right. But guess what? He doubles down on stupid. He claims that rather than the truth, which is that Donald Trump has made Netanyahu and Israel a vassal, and that he tells Netanyahu what he has to do, and he is the great betrayer. He wants it the other way around. Why? Because you can't be popular anymore as an influencer on social media unless you buy into this absurd myth that Netanyahu and Israel are controlling America. And it is absurd. America cannot be controlled, or Trump cannot be controlled, by Netanyahu and Israel, and have signed that memorandum of understanding where they checkmated Israel, where they betrayed Israel. And ultimately, the thing that I talked about yesterday, which is that Trump's only card, his only solution for this mess that he has made by attacking Iran and getting into a war that has led to such a disaster, his only remedy is to do the unthinkable, which he's going to do. He's going to play Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah,
he's going to betray Israel. He's going to sacrifice the heart of Israel for a peace agreement, and that will include Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, by the way, he went on air acknowledging this just 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. And you know what the Iranians said? There are no such discussions. You know what the Saudi Arabians said? There are no such discussions. And when he talked about that he's going to give nuclear technology to the Saudi Arabians, and then he went off and lied and said only if they sign up for the Abraham Accords. Saudi Arabia and the United States both came back and
Abraham,
said,
of course.
The agreement says no such thing, and Trump never mentioned it. So he wants you to believe that you shouldn't join the military because you'll be a slave of Israel, and that the legislation before Congress unifies the U.S. military and Israel's military and unifies their intelligence services. Now, let me tell you the truth. Israel is a purchaser of U.S. military hardware, and it is destroying Israel because they're forced to purchase certain things, and those things have no value to Israel. Mm-hmm. The war that just did Israel in was a bunch of Muslims in tenny rompers. And the F-15s and the F-35s and the fancy tanks and the Apache
even
helicopters
the Apache.
And the A-10 gunships, none of it worked. None of it was of any value, including the Iron Dome and the THAAD missile defense, and none of it had any value at all. And the prophets are quite clear as to what's going to happen in the future. Iran is going to send 3 to 4 million mujahideen into Israel. And once again, all that fancy hardware is not going to do anything. It's bankrupting Israel and not protecting Israel and giving Israel a false sense of security. And so Israel is buying this stuff. And part of the deal is that Israel gets a discount on it because Israel is being paid for having given up the Sinai so that America could have Egypt buy American weapons as opposed to Russian weapons. You don't like that deal? Then give Israel the Sinai back. And as for that deal on its face, Israel has to improve all of those weapon systems and then give America all the benefit of those improvements. Because America doesn't invent shit anymore and can't make anything worth a damn. Our systems don't even work anymore. And then on top of all of this, it's America that is putting bases in Israel because Israel is its proxy. It's not Israel that's putting bases in America. Now, on top of all of this, the White House is routinely announcing that they're going after Israelis for their alleged spying operations on the Department of Defense. If you're merging intelligence services, you wouldn't do that, would you?
How are you? Yeah. How are you spying?
Yes, in terms of intelligence services, America doesn't have any. The CIA has no operatives in the areas that would do any good. They bribe people to lie to them, and they're very good at bribing people that lie to them. And the people that they bribe give the money to the people that are telling them to lie to them. And they've done that for years. The difference is the Mossad actually has human intelligence, people who are willing to take a bullet for their country. America doesn't. And so when it comes to intelligence in that part of the world, America doesn't have any. It has to rely on the Mossad. And as part of the weapons deal, Israel provides that intelligence to America. That's the truth there, Scott. But once a jarhead, evidently, always a jarhead. Once an anti-Semite, always an anti-Semite. Striving to be popular and keep up with the other cool kids that are trashing Israel and lying, you've decided to sell out too.
A ton of our military hardware doesn't even work without the Israelis. The F-35 is unflyable without the Israeli rewriting the entire software to operate that plane.
and it doesn't have any range without the Israeli modifications. And the plane is nothing but a boondoggle anyway. It's an absolute waste of an aircraft. Waste of money. But it's all that way. Scott, wake up. It's too late for you. Yeah, go ahead and play this. In fact, we should probably play a little bit of that previous one, just so that you don't think that I failed to
words
give an
in Scotty's mouth.
Yeah.
Nobody should join the U.S. military today. Nobody. Because we're no longer a country worthy of defending, and we're not a country that honors your sacrifice. If you're wearing the uniform today, wait for your enlistment to end and get the hell out. If you have your commission, when your commission obligation finishes, leave. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is what the legislation is being considered right now in the Congress that basically merges the United States military with the Israeli military, United States intelligence with it. We have become greater Israel. And I will never, ever, ever support an American wearing the uniform of anything that's other than 100% defense of the United States of America. America no longer functions the constitutional republic, which means the Constitution.
You can shut him up. America's military has never defended America, ever. So you're even a hypocrite in that regard. Never has America's military fought to defend America. Not once, ever. It's all propaganda. And you should be smart enough to know that. You actually dabbled in military intelligence, pal. Look at this.
Isn't that one of the leading oxymorons?
It is.
Military intelligence.
Yeah, it is. Boy, he has absolutely destroyed himself. But, Douglas Macgregor he went on a bender blaming Israel through, the last 1,000 years. It was the wildest conspiracy. It was worse than the elders of conspiratorial fame. Mm-hmm. The protocols of the elders of Zion. It was worse than that. I mean, so these guys have all lost it. Welcome to a world where everybody besmirches Israel. All right, so this next one, it's a quick little thing. We can go ahead and show it. Allahu not Akbar. Allahu not Akbar. We have the voice recorders from those airplanes. They were screaming, Allahu Akbar. They confessed. And yet, Americans aren't smart enough to hold them accountable. What in the hell happened to America?
As somebody who lives in New Jersey, we literally probably 30 miles from where the crow flies when these planes hit those towers. And it caused such a scar on the psyche, really of the country and of the world. But the closer you were in proximity, it was really just profound. Almost for a decade after, I mean, people walked around in shock. And now that we have this Muslim mayor, it just goes to show you how unthinking people are. They can't put it together that this isn't a good idea, and people are apathetic and they really don't give a shit. They just don't care. Yeah, put a Muslim in. It really is unbelievable.
It's despicable. And this idea of never forget, we never learned. I did 10,000 radio interviews on this. I wrote Tea with Terrorists about my interview with Al-Qaeda. I wrote Prophet of Doom, offered them free, which was at the time, the most complete documented presentation of the Quran and Hadith. And now it's gone from 1 volume to 5 volumes and covers everything that you could possibly want to know about Islam, documenting all of it. And in all those 10,000 interviews, I mean, what I'm doing is refuting the nincompoops that want to pretend that the terrorists corrupted their religion. But it's not true. The religion corrupted them. And it's obvious and it's overwhelming. And yet you want to talk about it in the mainstream media, they'll shoot you down. You want to talk about it on X, they'll try to shoot you down as well. You can say it on X, it's just that you will have no following. Yeah. By the way, Allah not Akbar, that's what they were screaming, Allahu Akbar. He is certainly not great because everything that Allah's ever influenced has turned to shit. But since Arabic is actually Hebrew. Akbar means mouse. He's not even up to the category of a rat. Allah's a mouse is what it means. Should he ever have grown up, he could have become a rat, but no. The thing I like about this picture, they're celebrating putting more sanctions on Russia, which of course is insane because they put every manner of sanction they could on Russia and it's had no effect. And anytime you continue to do something and expect a different result, you are officially insane. Moreover, it's the United States that created that proxy war, which means every one of those people are an absolute hypocrite. America is responsible for the 2 million dead because America in every which way started that war. But one of the things that's interesting there is that Senator Cocaine is front row, second from the left, and I didn't know that Senator Cocaine got a vote or should have been included in all of this. But there is Zelensky.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Cocaine Mitch. No, you're talking. Okay, Zelensky.
No. This second from the left, front row. That's Senator Cocaine. Mm-hmm. That's Vladimir Zelensky right there.
He still doesn't wear a tie, though, does he? I mean,
I don't give a crap. He's dressed up as if he were a Haredi Jew. Doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the scum and villainy that continue to blame Russia for the war that America started. You're all scum. I would even say that the 12 who voted against it didn't know what the hell they were doing. And the 88 of you can go to hell. So this person wants to know, this is Ugo Cannon, who is trying to promote atheism. The Bible condemns incest in other passages. Yet one of its most famous story has Lot's daughters getting him drunk and conceiving children by him. What lesson should readers take from Genesis 19, 30, and 38? I am so glad you asked. The reason Lot couldn't be saved, the reason he was able to be victimized like this, is because he was too lethargic to engage following the messenger's instructions. He had two fellows, two of the most famous people who have ever lived. Those two messengers, they were Noah and Shem. Shem would later be known as Dowd. Noah is the Choter then in that car. And they went and tried to salvage Lot from Sodom. He wouldn't listen. He was lethargic. He had every excuse under the sun as to why he didn't want to do anything. And so the reason that he was victimized by his daughters is because he was worthless. And if you are as lethargic as he is, you're not willing to invest the time to listen, learn, so that you can live, then you will end up in exactly the same position that he was in. But that's only half the story. The other part of the story is that the woman who would emerge from Moab is the woman who is the Amma, who delivered the kinsman redeemer to salvage Israel. So out of this horrid thing, the most beautiful story to ever emerge has come. So I'm glad you asked. I hope you're listening.
You know, I have a question before we move on. There was kind of touched on it in our Discord chats. I had someone asking about what was the word, Doda and ant, and how it gets mistranslated into ant. Okay, whenever it's the most productive of the beloved, right? I mean, Dod with the ah ending, not only making it feminine, right? Because it says very clearly that what was his name? Ammon, what was
Ammon.
Moshe's
Ammon and Jochebed.
Jochebed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that Jochebed was. It's always translated that Jochebed was Ammon's aunt, and yet Carl Leviticus says you can't marry your your aunt, right? Your sister of your mother or of your father.
No.
Yeah, and
yes, she was his Doda, which means she was his beloved. Dod means beloved, and Doda with the hey, which is the ending, means the full capacity of whatever is being conveyed. So to make it as productive as possible. So it takes a masculine concept and adds the feminine to it to make it even more comprehensive. So it is the fullness of love that he married. And the
yet
product
they
of
say
that
aunt.
was Moshe. Yes. And
that's a bit like Pa'ar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody says it's a red heifer, and yet
Par and para. That it's a red heifer, but nope. The Adamah is Adam plus the ending, which means he is all things pertaining to Adam, who just happens to be Dowd. And that makes him as a bloody red man of the earth, Adamah. And para means that he is a productive bull. So it takes bull and adds a more robust capability of being fruitful and productive to the nature of that bull. So the Adamah para is not a girly cow, not even a pink cow. It is a bloody red man of the earth who is a productive bull. And that's what's going to be sacrificed on Towrah. So there's no reason to go off and look for a red heifer. I know where he is. I'll be there.
No worries.
I'll take care of it for you. I'll take care of it for you.
We got this, man. Yeah.
I got this under control. Yeah. I don't think there's any worse scum on the earth than the Haredi. And I view them as the greatest scourge in the history of the Israeli people. But there is a strain of toxin that is worse than the others. And this particular strain in New York City is the worst of the worst. These are religious Jews who hate Israel and are swooning on behalf of the ethnic slur of the fakest Indians. When God says, I'm out of here, I'm divorcing you because you're religious, and I want nothing to do with you because you are religious, and I'm just tired of this, so I'm out of here. I'll return when you return, but not before. And so God divorced himself of Yisra'el, and he did so 2,700 years ago. And he has not returned and will not return until they change their attitude, and that's not going to be a lot of them that will. And if you combine that when God said that he regretted having created humankind, these things go together, don't they?
My people are dead for lack of knowledge. This is that picture in a nutshell.
This is that picture. Oh. My people are destroyed for being stupid. There you go.
In my opinion, there's nothing worse than, I remember this on X, is the self-loathing Jew. There's just nothing, when you're out there defending Jews and they are supporting their enemies who you're defending them against, it's very insulting, when they do
It's the most insulting job in the world to speak on behalf of Israel.
Yeah.
It is.
Agreed.
Not only do you get 90% of the world spitting in your face when you support Israel, but the Israelis themselves are obnoxious.
Yeah. That's right.
They've been on the wrong side of the truth for 4,000 years, and they're obnoxious about it. That's why Moshe told Yahweh, what you did, asking me to do this, was really mean. It's grossly unfair. And if you have any concern for me, you will actually kill me now, because these people are impossible. This job is impossible. And it continues to be. Well, you can play a little bit of this. There's some subtitles underneath it. Well, I guess the subtitles are not showing, but I will paraphrase here for you. Mow'edym is really the voice of, you want the whole truth from Russia, he'll give it to you, because Putin is too delicate these days to tell you the whole truth. But Mow'edym will. And he is the chairman of the Russian Security Council. And what he is saying is that there are all manner of rumors and false reports that Russia is going to have a mobilization to get more troops to fight in Ukraine. But the Russians already have almost 2 million troops through volunteers that are already trained and can't even find a place to use all of them. And so what he's saying is this is absolutely false. But the real truth is that the Ukrainians are the ones who are rounding people up from street corners as if they were pigs, and throwing them into vans and buses and throwing them out onto the front to be cannon fodder. So the opposite of what is being reported in social media is actually true. But all that known, none of it matters, because it is no longer about the troops. It's about the drones. And at this point, the drones are going both ways, and they're destroying one another. And neither of them can withstand this onslaught of drones. Drones have become the great curse of humankind. Drones were the first step towards the AI robots. You know, the drones, for the most part, when they were first deployed, and the person who used them most aggressively was Barack Obama. And he killed, I don't know, it's 10 to 15,000 innocent people without so much as trial or even bringing evidence against them. He turned the position of POTUS into a killing machine. And when he did that, I was doing Shattering Myths, the syndicated radio show, and I said the development of drones is going to be the death of the world, because it makes killing too surgical, too distant, too remote, too little responsibility. Makes killing too easy. And when you no longer have to deploy and risk a human to go kill another human, but you can go kill humans anywhere in the world by pushing a button and sending a machine, then people are going to be killing people all over the place for any reason that strikes their fancy. And once that happens, it leads to the obliteration of life on the planet. And what we have witnessed now is not only the rise of the drone and of drones being the dominant influence in war, but of their collaboration with AI, so that the human is completely out of the equation. And yet drones aren't killing drones, they're killing humans.
That's why the drone operators had the highest suicide rate, and they had to replace them with AI.
Yeah. You know, when the U.S. Recruited the original drone operators, they were working in trailers in Tempe and other places in Arizona. To do this, they looked for video game players that really had no conscience, no morality, no character. They just liked to play video games, and so they figured they were the ones that could, have their thumbs and do the controls. But they also sought character types of people without empathy. And they've replaced them now with machines without empathy. We have reached the days of Skylink going live and of the movie, The Terminator. That is where we are. You don't even need humans to push the button anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about Ukrainian suicide drone operators, but I do know that they're having a tough time filling drone seats just because that job is very low survivability. Even if them being in bunkers and trying to be hidden or whatever, the fact that they have to leave and initiate the drone and everything outside of their bunker and stuff and fly it, that Russia just pounds them as soon as they're found.
Yeah, life expectancy of a Ukrainian drone operator is counted
weeks,
in days. Days, maybe weeks at the utmost. But it is a suicide mission. And, they just figure that if they can kill enough that somehow that will postpone the inevitable. But it's a real mess that we're witnessing here. Mel, that is a really nasty God, Mel. Boy, Mel, if that's your God, maybe you are in hell already. Maybe I don't even bother me to send you there. If that is your God, maybe you already are in hell. Yeah. What a twisted, horrid, pathetic God. It is finished. You even had to steal Dowd's line. It's just pathetic. I am so disgusted as to what people will believe and how they will turn their God into this. Imagine having a God this disgusting, that you would celebrate the torture of your God. You would think that the tortured death of your God somehow benefits you, and yet you can't come up with a single explanation of why the tortured death of your God does anything for you.
No understanding of matzah. No
understanding of Pesach either.
Mm-hmm.
No understanding of Pesach, no understanding of matzah, no understanding of the Mow'edym. And so you think that your God became a man, that men killed your God, and that somehow the tortured death of this God is a benefit for you, and that you should celebrate the torturing of your God, and you can make $600 million torturing your God. Be like Mel. Go to hell.
Go to hell.
Yeah. That is one
I think we found our tagline
religion,
for this episode.
Yeah, be like Mel. Go to hell. Newsflash. Now they were talking here about Scripture tells us, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For what he has stood the test, he receives the crown of life. For 71 years, Lindsey Graham was a strong and steadfast man. As a brother, as a senator, as a patriot, he withstood every last test. Yeah. Be like Graham and you'll be damned. Right now, Lindsey Graham, he is already in hell, and he's reserving a nice apartment for the Donald. Apartments in hell are pretty small, so Trump probably won't like it. And Trump doesn't even get naming rights in hell because the author of the Christian New Testament, the first 14 books written in the Christian New Testament, Paul, whose given name was Shaul, he gets the naming rights. He's already got the naming rights. It's named after him. So, the rest of you just follow him right on down, be a fellow Twistian, and there you go. He's already in hell.
Yeah, blessed is the man who remains steadfast. No, I'm going to go with Dowd's first Mizmor. Ashri Haish, Lo Halak Rasha. Right? Let's not walk in the ways of Russia. So yeah.
Yeah, let's not walk in the ways of the wicked. That's the wicked, and that's their walk. And I can tell you that he actually didn't die. He will never die, nor will the piece of shit that's on the other side of that coffin, nor will the person that's leading that little walk right there with their cross with the sun circle around it. No, none of them will ever die. That's why hell exists.
Azab.
Eternal
Forever.
separation. Yep. So Trump, as the a-hole that he is, went off and told the Trump tush talkers at Fox News that he is going to beat the fucking shit out of them. He's going to do that because they killed the American troops in Jordan. Now, he's killed a lot of American troops, but Trump, who started the war, is going to knock the shit out of those, the effing shit out of those that responded to the war that he started. I guess they were just supposed to, oh God, the great and honorable Trump is, wait, I raised my hands and this little camera thinks that means I'm trying to zoom it in on me. That's really funny. It's a AI camera, and it does these kinds of things. I'll have to keep my hands folded. That Trump assumed that the Iranians would say, "Oh, please, may I have another? Please, I need another bomb, please, sir." And we'll just take it until it's time to surrender. You tell us when you would like us to surrender, sir. And between now and then, would you please bomb the effing S out of us, because that's what we would like, sir. Thank you, sir, for being so considerate and focusing on us in this way. We really do appreciate your attention in this matter. The world is so upside down. And I think that if you had a truth bomb that blew up in the middle of Fox News, there is not a single one of the Trump tush talkers that would have a clue that it went off. They would continue to say, oh, he's going to beat the effing shit out of him. You go. Yeah, that's us. We're Americans, man. We beat the effing shit out of countries. That is who we are. We're proud of it, too. Oh, by the way, since he does have 4 fingers pointing back at him, we know who the effing piece of shit is, don't we?
Yeah, the Fox tush talkers last night, the big story was the surprise attack, this attempted sneak attack by Iran on Saudi Arabia, right? And that all the American missiles, all the missiles and drones were intercepted, and that Saudi Arabia was about to respond to Iran. So I was like,
so you're telling me that 5 months of war, and so far all that's happened is that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain have been pummeled by Iran, and that not one of them has landed a shot against Iran, that all of a sudden now the Saudis are going to man up. MBS, man, he's going to strap on his boots. He's going to grab the scimitar, and he's going to lead the charge. Well, thank you very much there, MBS. I'm glad you found your manhood someplace where it had been disposed. I just assumed that MBS, that he has gone in some kind of a hole and thrown dirt over his head so that his own family doesn't take him out. No. You know, the idiots of the Trump tush talkers that want to repeat what this a-hole has done every day and expect a different result. They're all insane.
And 2 soldiers, that's nothing. I mean, where do we get into this thing? Where do we continue on? Look at how he's lashing out now. Yeah.
He does his invasion, and he finishes the job, which is what they want him to do. And the only way he can finish the job is to enlist 2 to 3 million American soldiers and have them be cannon fodder by sending them into Iran. And I don't think that even if you could marshal 2 or 3 million soldiers and invade Iran, that you could occupy it. I don't even think that'd be enough to occupy a country of 90 million people that is armed to the teeth as they are and who are prepared for your invasion. I don't think even that would work.
Yeah.
But I know you can't do it with tens of thousands, which is what he's planning.
They couldn't do it with the goat herders in Afghanistan just across the street. It's the same
No.
territory. It's the same mountains. It's the same,
Right.
for years.
They couldn't beat the Taliban in Afghanistan. Lost to the Taliban in Afghanistan. Lost to the Houthis. I mean, that's the clown face of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't beat Iraq. In fact, gave Iraq to Iran. No.
Yeah.
They aren't going to beat Iran. Vivid. Out of touch with reality, out of touch with the prophets, out of touch with life. He says the people of Israel will live forever. No. You may want to check your history, pal, because there's been a lot of dying going on. You know, the Egyptians were perpetrating genocide against you until Yahweh decided to intervene and bail you out, and you were obnoxious. And then every one of you who was religious, like promoting a flag like that, every one of you who were religious, he killed. That's not exactly living forever, is it? You made the golden calf, he killed you. You revolted against Moshe, he killed you. You went in as spies into the land and came back having envisioned giants there, and he killed you. He let the Assyrians kill you. He let the Babylonians kill you. He let the Greeks kill you. He let the Imperial Romans kill you. He let the Roman Catholics kill you. He let the first Muslims kill you. He let the Ottomans kill you. He let the Nazi Germans kill you. You know, the people of Israel will live forever. Did you ever bother to take note of the fact there were 6 million Jews exterminated during the Holocaust?
Yeah.
No. And a matter of fact, you should read your prophets, because Zechariah says that 2 out of every 3 Jews over the next 7 years is going to die. So, not the case there, Vivid. You're counterproductive. You're a liability to Israel. But I'm sure you're making a nice living on influencer points.
The hell is this?
Yes.
What the hell is this?
They're Haredi. It's a Haredi convention.
Oh, is this a minion? Okay.
Well, more than a minion. 10 would be a minion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is what it looks like to be part of that death cult.
Jeez.
Worse than the death cult of Islam. Worse than the death cult of Christianity. Look at this. Look at them bob back and forth. I mean, they're zombies.
I mean, they're just missing the snakes. They could be Pentecost. I mean, that is, wow.
Yeah. It's really sad. It's just, and can you imagine God and saying, you know, why did I save these people? Why did I choose these people? I can't do anything with these people. That's why when we get to Towrah, it's going to be gone for all of them. They're all incinerated. They're all turned to goo. Boy, the stench of that. Can you imagine it?
Wow.
Judaism violates Jews. There is no worse plague on Israel than Judaism. And unless there are Jews who return to becoming Yehud again and completely disassociate from Judaism, there will be no Jews left.
Yeah, this is Yahweh saying, Chinook, you're up again. I need you back in as Baos. This time we're not building a boat. It's going to be easy duty this time, but we got to get there and
easy duty.
Well, the first round of battle.
He has the Choter completely annihilate whatever survives by the time of Towrah at the end of the time of troubles.
Mm-hmm.
He annihilates everyone but a few 100,000, perhaps Goyim, and 1,500 or so Yehudim, and he annihilates everybody else. That's not easy. Well, will it be fast and quick? Absolutely. He's turned into a flaming sword.
Flaming sword. Mm-hmm.
And then in the immediate aftermath, he is judge and jury. Which souls stay dead, which go into Sheol. No, that's not an easy job. And and of course, he doesn't do any of those things until they take him out. He is slaughtered in the most ruthless way. And then in the midst of the flames, underneath that mutilated body, he rises as a flaming sword to take out all of those who sought to destroy him.
I said Baoz, not Yada. I'm trying to segue here because Baoz was pretty. You got the girl. It was easy duty that time, you know. I mean, you were the mayor of Bethlehem. You got the girl. You know, that one wasn't so bad. That was like a
Bethlehem.
Yeah,
right? An easy deployment, wasn't it?
Okay. That is the way that I had depicted it before I went and translated the story that it emerges out of, which is the story in Judges and Shaphat. The conclusion of that book is so horrid that it would have been over for Israel if Boaz had not been placed in that position with the Amma to deliver the kinsman redeemer. It was over for Israel. I would not have survived that civil war that resulted in that horrid dismemberment and rape death of the woman at the hand of the Loi. They would not have survived it. And when you read what she was up against in terms of Naomi, who was a genuine piece of shit, and then what he was up against in terms of the elders of Bethlehem and their toxic religiosity, it was a harder job than it seems, although that hard job was cloaked in as you said, he got the girl. Or the girl got him. I think it was a little bit of both, and it is a beautiful love story. But that love story is cast into a time that was exceedingly difficult, and it was their great grandson, who was Dowd, who was abandoned by his mother and father, and who made some really horrific decisions and turned against Yahowah too. And had they not come back to resolve that situation, we wouldn't be here talking about it now. So it was harder than I would agree. It was the easiest of all the deployments. That was the easiest one. But everything was on the line. Yeah, I think
you don't get the job as the fixer for the easy jobs, right?
No.
You know, you don't.
Yeah, you're the fixer and the finisher, so you don't. Yeah, you don't get the. No, you do not get the easy jobs. That just happened to be the one. I'm not sure it was the one with the biggest perk and the least amount of aggravation. It was the one with the least amount of aggravation, for darn sure. God's pretty lavish on the perk that comes from this last deployment, but I think the hardest deployment was being Boaz and Ruth again and delivering Emmanuel to serve as the fulfillment of Pesach, Matzah, and Bakodim. Knowing how gruesome that was going to be, knowing that you'd participate in it, and knowing that virtually everyone in the world would deny what you have done and credit a myth like Jesus for what you actually endured. That's got to be the hardest of them all. Although this one's no cakewalk.
Yeah.
All right, there we are again. A book that contradicts itself isn't inspired by a perfect God. This is Ugo Cannon. He wants to taunt Twistians into being atheists. And of course, he's not going to accomplish any of that because Twistians, the religious, are never influenced by evidence or reason. And in his particular case, he's not reasonable and he's presenting no evidence. So he's 0 for 3 in this regard. The Torah and prophets do not contradict themselves. It's that book that was attached to the end by the Twistians that contradicts the Torah. And so the New Testament proves that it was not inspired by God because it contradicts God in every possible way. So, as I said, there's not a single citation in the Christian New Testament that quotes what God said accurately. Not one. So if you're constantly misquoting God and misrepresenting God and contradicting God, that you say is the one who inspired your religion has to be false. There is no other rational conclusion that can be drawn. So the New Testament does in fact contradict the Torah and prophets, and therefore it has proved that it isn't from God. And the Torah and prophets, by being wholly consistent and prophetic, proves that it was inspired by God. However, neither the Torah and prophets, nor God, nor those who spoke for God are perfect. God regrets creating the likes of you, Ugo. So that would mean that he is not perfect. And he doesn't want to be perfect, because if he's perfect, there'd be nothing to accomplish, no reason to grow, no reason for humans. And a perfect person is not possible, and it wouldn't even be interesting. So your perfect concept is a religious concept. And so once again, rather than attacking God and debating against God, you're debating against religion. It's a weak little foe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yahweh himself describes himself as Shaddai, right? He's sufficient. I'm pretty good. Yes. I'm good enough, right?
I'm good enough. Good enough.
And what he's looking for is Sadak and Tamim, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, right and completed. So, right.
Yeah. We can finish the job, and we can be right. We can listen, we can learn, we can live.
Mm-hmm.
But we cannot be perfect, and God would never want us to be perfect.
Mm-mm.
There'd be nothing left for us to do in our lives. Eternity would be a long time of doing nothing if we were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What in the hell would you do?
Where do you go from there? There's no up.
Where do you go from there?
there's no up.
There's nothing from to be accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got God on their side.
Yeah. Lavrov is the most polished of all of the foreign spokespeople for a nation. The only one that comes close to him is Arachi of Iran. Arachi is a pretty smart dude. But when he moves into Putin territory and begins to speak of God, and that's the Russian Orthodox God, which is really a trippy, gilded concoction. It's a really, really weird derivation of Christianity. Way too dark and gilded for anybody to believe. But everybody claims that God is on their side. Mm. And yet God claims that I'm on no one's side, that I've left and went to Shama. So he's not on anybody's side. And of course, no one who has ever claimed that God was on their side has been able to deliver on that promise, have they?
Nope.
Moshe does okay, doesn't he? I mean, he raises the staff and they win, and arms come down and they start to lose, and he raises staff and they win. I mean, Moshe did okay with that, right? Hezekiah, 185,000 Assyrians gone in one night. Yah's on it, I mean, okay.
Yeah, it's there are some moments where people listened to what God had to say and acted accordingly. Noah built the Tebah. Mm-hmm. There are instances, there are moments in Moshe's life when he got it right. Not a lot of them, but there are moments. There are moments in Dowd's life where he got it right. Not a lot of them, but at least in the life we know the most about. Hezekiah was really good for a couple of weeks.
good couple of weeks.
Wasn't long-lived.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people who were listening and learning to God were so few and far between. 2 weeks was enough for Yahweh to kill 185,000 warriors. A good lesson for Israel today. Couple of weeks of just being Torah observant would go a long way, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Remarkable when you think about it.
Yeah. So there's some brief moments, but no, God retreated to Shama during the divorce and said he's not coming back. Now, that doesn't mean that God can't project his spirit. He does. That God can't project himself into our world one way or another, but God himself is not on anybody's side. He is empowering certain people, enabling certain people to do what he wants done. But it's not because that person's on God's side or God's on that person's side. It's because God is using that person in that way. And there have never been very many of them that fall into that role. And you are not one of them, Mr. Lavrov. Finish the fight. Finish the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, does this have music? Is this a Rocky montage? No, this is dark.
We're winning too much.
People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning.
Put up by the White House. A montage to make a demon, Satan incarnate, look like he is the leader of a nation. Finish the fight. I will. September 24th, 2033. I will finish this fight that he began. You can get a ringside seat if you want. In fact, I could even recommend a viewing position if you'd like. I would prefer for you to join us via the Shabuah Harvest and the Covenant, because then you can get even a better seat than the Mount of Olives to the whole thing. You can be up there with the
Skybox,
really
right?
Cool kids.
Isn't that what they call it?
Really,
Skybox?
Yeah, you get a Skybox. You get a Skybox. Be there with the really cool kids. But I will finish this job. That's the date. Mark your calendars. Hard to imagine that POS is going to live that long, but somehow. They actually present him in a wheelchair, a flashy wheelchair. It's got flames on the spokes. But by that time he's long in days and he's in a wheelchair. But nevertheless, Satan keeps him alive all the way to that point.
Yeah, we know the time, we know the date, we know the place, we know the players.
All of it. And we will finish the fight. And by the way, he loses big.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one, they're Christians overtake the streets of Dallas and proclaim his holy name. What is the holy name?
Yahweh.
Well, no,
not their shit.
No, it's actually even with Yahowah. It's not holy. Holy is diseased in Hebrew. And the name that you can see on their signs is Jesus. So they've changed Yahweh's name to Jesus. They've turned God into a man. And they've paid no attention to the language that he used to speak to us, have turned holy from diseased into something that is religious. There he is. Jesus saves. Jesus is king. Yeah. American flags. Jesus is American. I didn't know if you know this, but Jesus, he's an American. He's a Texan. I don't know why we have that six-pointed flag when we could have this flag of the Star of Texas right there. But there we go, man.
Cowboys fan.
Yeah, man. Jebus, that's the holy name. Yeah, well, then if Jesus was such the holy name, then why didn't it exist until the 17th century? 16 centuries after the fact? And that's the first time your holy name ever appears? Right. Why can't you think that through?
Is this their counter argument to all the Muslims that have infiltrated that
Oh yeah,
Texas.
this is they're walking the streets of Dallas to show that Jesus lives. Your God was a man. Men
Oh,
killed
there
your
they had
God.
a Yeshua. They had a Yeshua in there.
Wow.
Any
Oh
old,
yeah,
any
you
old
can't
God
mix
will
it up
do,
and
huh?
mingle enough.
Yeah, there's nothing better than lying twice over. The lie to fix the lie. Rename Jeebus Yeshua. That'll fix the lie. That'll make them real, right?
Well, a little more Jewish, maybe.
A little more Jewish, maybe. But the religion condemns Jews, so I'm not sure that's a good thing. And they said that Jews killed him, so maybe he was into suicide. Maybe he killed himself.
Maybe that's what Eusebius meant. When, who do people say I am? Who the hell am I?
Who the hell am I? Could you please tell me who I am?
Please.
We've been together for 3 years. I'm about to, be crucified. And so who in the hell am I?
Oh,
You're
man.
John the Baptist. I am. Well, wait a minute. He already had his head cut off. So how could I be him? You're Elijah. Well, how could I be him since he was opposed to religion? Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work either. So you're the Christ. Well, but there is no prophecy about a Christ. So what is that? It means drugged in Greek anyway. So who are you talking to about? And then his response is, "Don't you dare tell anybody that I'm the Christ."
You gotta love that.
He ends it by saying, "Don't you dare tell
Don't you
anybody."
mention a word.
And then he looks back at the alleged person who told him this, who is misnamed, of course, and he's standing in front of the entrance to hell, where the satyr Pan resided, and he says, "Get behind me, Satan." So he calls the very person who made the announcement Satan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great religion. You should be so proud, Twiston, that you believe in that shit. Oh, so Mearsheimer, he's part of the cadre of influencer voices. He hasn't been quite as anti-Semitic yet, but just say give him time. But here he says, the Russians are in the driver's seat. Ukraine no longer has a Black Sea port. Ukraine is winning, is just a propaganda campaign. Am I missing something? Did the Ruskies take Odessa? Is Odessa a port? Is Odessa on the Black Sea? And since Kiev regime still controls Odessa, do they not have a port on the Black Sea there, Mr. Mearsheimer? Do they get news into Chicago is where he is. Do they get newspapers there, sir? And last time I checked, Moscow was getting pummeled. So if that's the driver's seat, maybe you need a new driver, Mr. Professor, sir. And I don't want to mock him. He's probably the last to have gone off the deep end into anti-Semitism. So I shouldn't be mocking him, but this is just not true. Ted Cruz, today I say goodbye to my dear friend Lindsey. I prayed that God would grant his family peace and grant Lindsey eternal rest. Well, I got news for you. Your Lindsey, he's in hell. And any friend of Lindsey is going to follow him there. So if that's where you want your final resting place to be, Mr. Cruz, you just go right ahead and you follow your friend there. Lindsey Graham was the worst senator in centuries. He was a warmonger. He was a liar. He is responsible for the blood of 2 million people in the proxy war that he started against Russia. He is an absolute scum. But you can join in there, Mr. Cruz.
Yep.
I'll accept your reservation. I'll process it myself. His laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man who's responsible for the deaths of 2 million people in a proxy war that is eventually going to erupt in a nuclear conflagration is the man that was laughing on behalf of America. Look with that, Mr. Cruz. I'll cruise you right into hell, too. Here's the nastiest of all the Trump tush-duckers. He's got the stinkiest job of all. And here he is interviewing Senator Cocaine. And and so Hannity says, is Crimea back on the table, as if places filled with ethnic Russians are on the table to be divvied up. Zelensky, it's a pity not. Not yet, but we'll see. The land is very important. It's our territory. It's our history. No, it's not. Odessa, Crimea, the Eastern Oblasts, they're filled with ethnic Russians. They've been Russia's way before the czars. They were Russia long before there was even the name Ukraine. So, no, they are not your territory. They are not your history. And they are not your future either. Senator Cocaine. Too bad you didn't have a little more room in that coffin. You could have, crawled right in there with Lindsey.
Yeah.
Boy, they sure trotted him out a lot. How long has he been in the United States that he can hit all these shows?
He flew in within hours of Netanyahu, and he had the Oval Office time right after Netanyahu. Netanyahu left kind of through the back door, and Zelensky came in, and so it was a 1-2 punch for the dumpster. And there was nothing. There was no press conference. There's really nothing. Just photo ops with Netanyahu. No recap of the meeting. No nothing.
Probably better for Netanyahu that way. Come in, kiss the ring, get back out. Quick.
Yeah. Here's Eli Afriat. I've never seen a more charismatic person than Benjamin Netanyahu. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, too bad you weren't looking for a more spiritual person, because this man's charisma has betrayed Israel, checkmating the nation at the onset of the time of Israel's troubles. This is the man who set Israel up for its demise. And yet, there are still those who support him and think that by supporting him, they are somehow supporting Israel, when he's the man that destroyed Israel's reputation in the world. Him falling asleep on 10/7 caused the deaths of so many Israelis. His rage against Gaza, destroying Gaza, turned the world against Israel and pursued an outcome that had no chance of success. His 2 wars against Iran were insane. The goals were impossible. And a solution, not only elusive, but also not achievable. He's rendered Israel without an ally. Israel's alone, vulnerable, and is going to be ripped to pieces. And it's in large part because of people continuing to support this man.
Not only ripped it to pieces, made it so it can't be put back together. No one can get a coalition because of him. He's just going to,
But even if Israel were to have a replacement government, there's nothing they can do. I mean, there's literally nothing they can do. They have to form a partnership by bribing at least one of the Arab parties, which would be wrong. And while I think the Arab Party ROM is better than any one of the three Haredi parties, yeah, it's not a government for Israel. And to keep them in the coalition will require all manner of compromise, and you can't pursue the everyone is drafted, which is what all of the opposition want, without having a couple of things that are devastating. One is then you have to apply it also to every Arab Muslim in Israel that they have to be drafted to. And they'll just as soon turn the gun on Israelis as they would another Muslim. And the other problem is that the Haredi, while they need to be cut off so they can no longer be parasites, the Haredi is counterproductive in the IDF. Drafting them, while equitable, would destroy the IDF. They're sissies. They can't be around women, which means that 50% of your draftees now are women. You can't have a woman in sight of a Haredi. You can't even feed them military rations. You can't have them work a full schedule. You have to give them time to be religious. No, they have not been educated. They don't know math. They don't know language. They have no language skills. They have no science skills. They're function illiterates. No, you'd be counterproductive to put the Haredi in the IDF. And yet, if you don't put them in the IDF and make them serve, then you have a non-equitable state, and you continue to reward the parasites. This is not a salvageable situation. And by the way, the situation is worse in America than it is in Israel. America doesn't have a salvageable situation. You've got 40% that are Marxists against 40% that are MAGA insane. And the 20% in between doesn't want either to be associated with either side. So you really have no remedy for America either.
Yeah.
In fact, America is just more extreme because it's 40%, not 20% on the extreme fringes in Israel, and in America it's 40. It's twice the percentage of nutcases.
Two hours. We have reached the end, folks.
Yes, there's our program, our basics and luminary. Yeah, you know, it's interesting.
Second time in history we've made it all the way through.
Yeah, we did. And the interesting thing here is that, as you guys know, just before the program began, Rich came down to my office. I'm trying to finish my commentary on Isaiah 11, and he says, you may want to add some post. You may want to add some posts to X. Oh yeah, I hadn't even gone there so far this morning, and so all of those posts we did were in like the 3 or 4 minutes prior to the show. That is the feed that Brock gave me for us to do the vlog on the vlog. And it turned out to
I like to get up in the morning, have my coffee, go through, see what I'm going to talk about for the day on the vlog, scroll outside and scroll, and I got nothing. And I'm going, well, maybe you're on Facebook. And I got nothing. And I'm going, here we go.
And you know that normally I accommodate by it's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
But this time the first thing I did is I wanted to finish the story on the Choter.
Yeah,
and it is such an interesting way that it is finished. That I wanted to do that. Now I'm in that place where do I finish the book and get these 3 books published, or do I finish this story and go into Yeshaya, further into Yeshaya? Do I tell the story of what happens next and how it all played out, or do I back out of the story and finish the books? It's pretty hard for me to back out of a story.
Yeah. Especially when it has a flaming sword. I mean, come on, that's.
The flame.
That makes it that much more difficult.
But the part of the story that I would dive back into is what happens. See, the Choter isn't just for this last 40 years going into Towrah. He's not just for that. His time is bookend, and it's the full fulfillment of the Mow'edym. So he is part of the fulfillment of the spring Mow'edym, Pesach, Matzah, and Bikurim, and then again in the fall Mow'edym, which is Chag Sukkah, with Teruah, Kippurim, and Sukkah. And so it is of that entire span. And the thing that I would go and tidy up, because we've talked less about it, is his role 2,000 years ago. Ooh. So that's the part that I have to decide. Do I tidy that up? Do I reveal, now that we're attuned to all of the clues, do we go back and make the case more completely for what happened 2,000 years ago, since we have made the case over and over again of what happens 7 years from now? That's the call. Pretty sure what I want to do, but I just don't have enough time in the day. I'm not making progress at the pace that I would like to make progress. The good news is that this job continues for the next 1,000 years, and the digs into which I'm going back into that vision that I've had of the Teba, and it's God describes the platform that we're going to continue to create these books and add to them in terms of writing the Nesh. And it is the Teba Kibbut. It is an extraordinary place. And so we're going to have a long time to do this, and there's a lot more to explore to benefit the mortal remnant. But there's also a lot to cover before we're even ready for that time. So that's what I've got to decide to do over the next few hours. And my first instinct is to tell the story of Yeshaya 11 in summary form, and then go to Mizmor 22 and 88 and see what can be gleaned from them pursuant to the collaboration together at that time. I'm sure that I'm positive of the result that is there to be explored in the 22nd Mizmor. I'm not yet sure of what's in the 88th again. It was a long time ago that I translated it. So we'll see. It's my current project, unless
we should go to a half hour and put a timer up on the display.
We could. That's what we could do. We could go to a half an hour on this show and 30 minutes on the Luminary show. And we'd have more time to get it done, is what he is saying. Okay, represent that statement. Let's see if
I'll see if I can find a timer.
Okay. Yeah. I know you found one previously. We'll see if I'm trainable. I'm not very good at being trainable so far. Well, I seem to be trainable by the big guy. The big guy has got pretty much
trained well.
Yeah, he's getting exactly what he
He's the only guy that can get through to you.
Yeah, he does. He says this is what we want, and we just salute and say, okay, we'll go do that. You sure you want that? Oh, okay. We'll do it. But anyway, that's where we are. Thank you, Will. Enjoying your shows. Doing a great job. You're the one that has just what the overall personality to carry it, pull it off. There's beginning to enjoy many of the shows, and particularly getting to love the Y2K guys and the way they're interacting with each other. And I think and Roger's doing a really nice job as he pushes through on this. But there are, as I think everybody is learning, if you don't have your material all ready to go and you know exactly what you're going to talk about, it is exceedingly difficult to turn on a camera and appear cogent. And I think you're smoother at it than probably anybody in our family, the way that you're prepared and delivering the result. So congratulations on that. If you get a little bit better at it, I'm going to retire. So I appreciate that opportunity. No, actually, you're doing a really nice job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It means a lot.
And I think everybody knows how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Boy, the person that really knows how difficult it is Kevin there, because he's the one that gets to.
He's in the middle of
every program except this one, because we do this as a live stream. We don't do any edits. Maybe we should, but we don't. And every other one is heavily edited.
I put Kevin to work last night. He was loading something up for me. So he's every week, man. Kevin's my go-to. He makes things happen. I mean, he really buttons everything up and, sews it all up in the end and makes it presentable and ready to go. He's
Kevin
invaluable.
is the GM of Yahowah's Get Along.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Kevin as a general manager, we'd be in trouble. And Rich managing the vlogs from this end, and we're getting tremendous contribution by Perry. But we have there's a number of Covenant members that are really, really performing at a very high level, including Leah. So we've enjoying lots of contribution at this point, and it's nice to see. How close are we to having the family page live, sir?
Oh, I don't know. That's on. I mean, Joe. Every time I get into the new side of the admin panel, there's just more pages and more pages and more pages and more pages being added. So he's working on rebuilding everything. So I haven't talked to him as far as when we're a go live thing. I'm sure there's something in the one of the pages that he's not quite happy with yet. So we get nothing. Yeah. You know how how Joe is.
That every time that you improve the general operating system for a dynamically generated site, it futzes with everything else. Like, for example, several heads up that the books are no longer properly synced to the text. So they'll talk to you, but they won't display the page that they're talking to you when they're reading the text to you. So we've gotten things off kilter by layering on new systems, and I know that we wanted to do some edits to the books that are at Amazon and they're presented on our site, and it was Barry that did the edits, and it changed the formatting, and we can't figure out why making an edit changed the formatting. So I mean, there's just so many challenges that once you make one move, it affects so many other things. There's a lot that goes on in the background. And of course, the big push right now is to get these 3 volumes of Coming Home completed. It's 2,000 pages, and that's a lot to deliver. I have all the edits stacked up. I've made a lot of the input, a lot of the edits. We still have a lot of more edits to input, and finishing Coming Home 4, and then have to decide on Coming Home 6 after we finish the story of Ruth. Do we go here because this is where it leads? The program on the luminaries. So I don't know. We'll see how we end up with everything. It's a lot of decisions still to be made. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Rich. We'll be back with you late this afternoon, maybe with a timer.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch Yao on our next podcast.